Britain is leaving the EU, so now Scotland wants to leave the UK. Israel wants closer ties with the Temple Mount, and MSNBC's epic fail on President Trump's taxes. It's Thursday, March 16th, 2017. I'm Derek Gilbert. First up, the House Intelligence Committee says they've seen no evidence to support the idea that President Trump was spied on by the Obama administration last year. Representative Devin Nunes, a Republican of California, says he doesn't believe there was an actual wiretap on Trump Tower. He says no evidence whatsoever that took place. Democrat Adam Schiff, congressman from California, agreed, saying that it deeply concerned him that the president would make such an accusation without basis. Now, hold the phone. If there's no evidence that wiretapping was taking place on Trump Tower, does this mean that President Trump was not under investigation for collaboration with Russia during the campaign? Or does it mean that the New York Times was spreading fake news and lying when it said that wiretapped data was being used in the investigation of Trump's advisors' connections with Russia? Either way, the Democratic narrative falls apart. Now, having said that, Judge Andrew Napolitano on Fox and Friends Wednesday morning said that he'd been told that 3 separate intelligence sources believe that the Obama administration did, in fact, wiretap President Trump's campaign, but did it in a way to avoid being directly involved. He said that 3 sources said that Obama didn't use the NSA, didn't use the CIA, didn't use the FBI or the Department of Justice. What he used was GCHQ. What is GCHQ? That's the British spying agency. This is something I've been talking about at prophecy conferences for the last 6 years. The NSA and the GCHQ have a very cozy relationship worked out. You see, the NSA is not supposed to spy on American citizens, and GCHQ is not supposed to spy on British citizens. So, each of the agencies has agents on staff at the other's facility, so that when the NSA wants to spy on an American, they ask the representative from GCHQ to do it while the NSA staffer looks over his shoulder, and vice versa. Why did they go to this trouble? 2 words: plausible deniability. And they are basically not just wiretapping President Trump and his staff, it's basically a country tap. So then we come to the non-story aired by MSNBC Tuesday night about President Trump's taxes. You should have been watching SkyWatchTV on the Christian television network anyway. But if you happen to watch this on MSNBC, you will notice that Rachel Maddow, the host who broke this story, spent more time talking about how important the story was than actually talking about what was on the 1040 forms, President Trump's tax forms from the year 2005. Maddow was scooped not only by the White House, which disclosed that she was going to air this big reveal an hour before she went to air, but also by the Daily Beast, which is an online publication, which reported that its contributor David K. Johnston had obtained the first 2 pages of Trump's 2005 tax return, alleging that he received them in the mail, just opened his mailbox and lo, there they were. According to these documents, Donald and Melania Trump paid $38 million in federal income tax, $5.3 million in regular federal income tax, and an additional $31 million in alternative minimum tax, or AMT. Now, what MSNBC did with this big scoop was confirm that Mr. Trump paid about 25% of his income in 2005 to the federal government. That is far more than the 14% tax rate paid by Mitt Romney, disclosed on his most recent publicly available tax return, and Senator Bernie Sanders, who during the campaign said that next year Donald Trump will pay his fair share in taxes. Well, in 2014, Senator Sanders earned a reported $200,000 and paid a tax rate of 13.5%. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but I am 99% sure that 25% is larger than 13.5%. Once again, there's no there. Oh, and by the way, all the allegations about President Trump's collaboration with the Russians, being a Russian stooge, it is now believed that Hillary Clinton's advisors met with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak during the 2016 presidential campaign. Let me check something. Nope. Still not tired of winning. Speaking of Russia, they've reportedly deployed special forces troops to western Egypt in support of one of the factions in the ongoing Libyan civil war. The first report of this deployment came March 14th from a Reuters news agency, citing diplomatic sources in the U.S. and Egypt. These officials claim that the Russian deployment is probably in support of Khalifa Haftar. He is a Libyan militia commander whose forces were attacked March 3rd by the Benghazi defense brigades on oil ports that he controls. Now, the Benghazi defense brigades are part of a group of Islamist militias allied with one another against Haftar, who commands the armed forces that are loyal to the internationally recognized government of Libya, which is a government really in name only because they don't really control much inside Libya. U.S. officials said that they had observed what they believed to be Russian special forces and drones about 60 miles from the Libyan side of the Egypt-Libya border. At least 31 people were killed and another 60 wounded when a powerful explosion Wednesday rocked the Palace of Justice in Damascus, Syria. According to Syrian state television, an explosive device was activated in the building's lobby. The Al Watan newspaper reported that the blast was caused by a suicide bomber. Police tried to stop him. Apparently, he broke through their cordon and got into the building where he detonated the device. No group has yet claimed responsibility for the blast. This explosion took place 4 days after a deadly twin suicide blast in Damascus. The Jubilee for Jerusalem is approaching, and the Israeli parliament, the Knesset, has for the first time proposed establishing a government body focused on strengthening the connection between the Jewish state and the Temple Mount, Mount Zion. Palestinian politicians are not pleased. They thought that recent efforts by the United Nations to erase the Jewish connection had been successful. Culture Minister Miri Regev and Jerusalem Minister Ze'ev Elkin proposed a new foundation to promote the Jewish connection to the Temple Mount. It would get an annual budget of about $550,000. This would be added to the already existing Western Wall Heritage Fund and establishing a new organization called the Temple Mount Heritage Foundation. It was 50 years ago, the summer of 1967, that the IDF conquered the city in its entirety during the 1967 Six-Day War. Spain warned Scotland on Tuesday that it would be at the back of the queue, back of the line for us Americans, for EU membership if it votes for independence. Foreign Minister Alfonso Dastis said Spain would do nothing to encourage secession in other countries. The Spanish government has a long problem with its Catalonia region, wants to break away. Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon has unveiled plans for a repeat of the 2014 independence referendum. Scots would like to stay in the EU, while the UK as a whole has voted to leave the so-called Brexit vote that took place last year. Scotland has already been warned that if it leaves Britain, it will also leave the EU and have to reapply as a new member. All new members since 1999 have been obligated to adopt the euro as its official currency. Coming up, dissent in the ranks of the Southern Baptist Convention. That's straight ahead on SkyWatch TV.
You've been fighting in a war against an enemy you've been told doesn't even exist. SkyWatch TV wants to change that to prepare you for the battles ahead. Beginning March 7th, exclusively from SkyWatch TV, the Cosmic War Collection finally arrives. Featuring 3 groundbreaking books, a 5-hour DVD, and a 7-hour audio series showing you how real the supernatural War of Kingdoms actually is. Reversing Hermon by acclaimed Bible and ancient language scholar Dr. Michael S. Heiser, and The Great Inception by SkyWatchTV's Derek P. Gilbert. You'll learn how Christ's full mission has been misunderstood for 2,000 years. Not only did he come to shed his blood to redeem mankind, Jesus was on a mission to reverse the sin of the angelic watchers who descended on Mount Hermon. You'll also discover how Bible stories you've known since childhood were literal battles in the spirit realm between God and the gods who rebelled. When you order the Cosmic War Collection from SkyWatchTV, you'll receive Reversing Hermon by Dr. Michael S. Heiser, The Great Inception by Derek P. Gilbert, a new, exclusive, never-before-offered deluxe hardcover collector's edition of the Book of Enoch, The Real Clash of the Titans DVD, a special, never-before-released video compilation with 5 hours of teaching on the long war between God and the gods, and The Unseen Adversary, a brand new audio series on MP3 disc with 7 hours of Derek P. Gilbert interviewing Dr. Michael Heiser on the Watchers, UFOs, and the Great Cosmic Rebellion of Satanic Forces. A value of more than $100, yours for just $29.95. The Cosmic War Collection, available beginning March 7th only from SkyWatch TV. Know your enemy. Order the Cosmic War Collection beginning March 7th by calling 844-750-4985 or log on to skywatchtvstore.com.
Well, Russell Moore still has a job after Monday's meeting with the Southern Baptist leader Frank Page. Moore is president of the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission of the Southern Baptist Convention. More than 100 churches had threatened to end their financial support to the SBC's cooperative program, which supports the ERLC, but also the 6 seminaries operated by the Southern Baptist Church, and also missions agencies and some other efforts. Now, the churches altogether represent less than 1% of the 46,000 congregations that make up America's largest Protestant denomination. They were upset at criticism of President Trump by Moore. And despite the small percentage of the Southern Baptist Convention, this protest is the largest in recent memory inside the Southern Baptist Convention. The highest profile threat came from Prestonwood Baptist Church, which is headed up by past SBC President Jack Graham, which said it would escrow up to $1 million from the cooperative program. That's less than 1% of the program's $190 million budget. But again, largest protest in recent memory inside the SBC. Trouble in my home state of Illinois. Despite a massive rally in the stock market since the president was inaugurated January 20th, the state of Illinois' General Assembly Requirement System, which is its pension system, is still only about 13.5% funded. That's down from 17% in 2013. Illinois now has a combined net pension liability of about $130 billion when it assumes a 7% return on its investments. Now, if you know where I can get a guaranteed 7% on my money, D. Gilbert at skywatchtv.com. That ain't happening. Look, Illinois has about $78 billion on hand to pay for pensions, but the liability is $208 billion. That leaves a difference of $130 billion, unfunded liabilities. It's money that the state of Illinois owes but doesn't have. The pension math assumes that the investments out there will earn a return of 7% a year. If it earns less than that, then that $130 billion pension liability grows. This debt doesn't bear interest like a bond, but it functions the same way in reality. Because of that missing $130 billion, Illinois automatically misses out on the 7% return that it's supposed to get in order to keep funding its pensions. This missed interest is about $9.1 billion a year, and essentially it's the interest cost on that missing $130 billion. Essentially, a lot of numbers, a lot of math that I can barely get my hand around, but it points to one big thing. Again, I'm not a mathematician, but it's pretty clear to see that Illinois is on a path to disaster. The debt is growing even though the stock market and its investments are increasing in value. The The state of Illinois is just one small recession away from financial disaster. A former nurse at Planned Parenthood in Indiana says that during her time at the facility in Indianapolis, she observed the abortionist literally sifting through the pieces to make sure that all of them have been pulled out. This interview, the nurse Marian Anderson, interviewed by Live Action, a video posted to their website Tuesday, liveaction.org. It's received over 1 million views already. Anderson told the interviewer that they were informed by Planned Parenthood that they were obligated to perform so many abortions a month in order to stay open, and that if they didn't meet quota, people would be sent home early and wouldn't get as many hours. In effect, it would take money out of their pockets, take bread off their tables. Nurse Anderson now works at a hospital in Indianapolis. Again, if you want to view that video in its entirety, you can find it online at liveaction.com or .org. Another disturbing story. We've talked before on this program about the practice of human trafficking, especially when it comes to teens. If you didn't see the interviews last year with Opal Singleton of millionkids.org, please search through the archives and look them up. A teen girl in Philadelphia says she was forced to have sex with an estimated 1,000 men over a period of 2 years, has sued the motel in Philadelphia where the abuse took place, alleging that the operators of the motel knew what was going on and did nothing to stop it. The girl, who is now 17, only identified by the initials MB, fell in with the wrong crowd after living on the streets off and on. After falling in with the wrong crowd, she was forced into the sex trafficking industry. Held at the Roosevelt Inn in Philadelphia by her captors, sometimes for months at a time, not allowed to leave. Instead, forced to have sex with men 2, 3, 4 times her age. The manager of the inn says that he was unaware that any such activity took place. The girl's attorneys say it would have been impossible for staff not to notice the large numbers of men coming and going, as well as other signs of illicit activity. Cloned meat. It's a thing. A San Francisco Bay Area food technology startup says it has successfully developed the world's first chicken strip grown from self-reproducing cells. Cloned chicken strips. People who tasted them on Tuesday said it tastes pretty much like chicken. There was a big reveal of this Wednesday. The company called Memphis Meats Incorporated. Scientists and animal welfare activists are hoping that this new industry could revolutionize U.S. agribusiness. It's a $200 billion annual business. Their goal is to replace the billions of cattle, hogs, and chickens with animal meat they say can be grown more efficiently and humanely in stainless steel bioreactor tanks. And one final story, and hat tip to George Brewer, viewer, for putting us onto this one. The feud between Turkey and the Netherlands took an ugly turn Wednesday. Turkey's Red Meat Association has ordered a consignment of prize Dutch cattle back to the Netherlands, saying it no longer wants them due to the diplomatic crisis between the two countries we told you about yesterday. Bülent Tunk, head of the Turkish Association of Red Meat Producers, told media there that a symbolic consignment of 40 Holstein cattle already being sent back to the Netherlands. The Dutch Holstein cows, his words, have become very common in our country, but this breed is starting to cause serious problems. In the future, we do not want animal products from Holland. The first batch of Holsteins have been loaded, and we will send them back. He said Turkey should start focusing on breeding its own cattle. I say somebody needs to explain to Mr. Tunk the difference between cows and steers. You can see here, I was born and raised in Chicago, and I can tell the difference. Anyway, if you're planning and thinking about attending the Hear the Watchman conference in Dallas, March 31st through April 2nd, please act soon. They're down to only 50 remaining slots before selling out. And those will probably go soon in the next week or two. People often make up their minds at the last minute. So if it's something you're considering, please take advantage of that soon. You can find information and registration at hearthewatchman.com. That's hearthewatchman.com. Speakers include L.A. Marzulli, Russ Dizdar, Pastor Carl Gallups, Pastor Billy Crone, myself, Sharon, Josh Peck from here at SkyWatch TV. And save $20 off your registration with the promo code SkyWatch. Now, if you want to see the speakers but can't travel to Dallas, there will be a live video stream. You'll find information and registration again at hearthewatchman.com. $39 for the live stream. All the presentations will be archived for 30 days after the conference. So if you miss one, go back and watch it later, or watch the really good ones a couple of 3 times. But the cost goes up to $49 after March 22nd. So take advantage of that opportunity now and save an additional 5% with the promo code Gilbert5. That's Gilbert and the numeral 5 at checkout. September 15th through the 17th in Branson, Missouri. It is the True Legends Conference featuring Steve Quayle, Timothy Alberino, Tom Horn, L.A. Marzulli, Dr. Michael Lake, and some guy named Gilbert. That'll be at the Mansion Theater in Branson, September 15th through the 17th. For more information and to register, log on to gen6conferences.com. That's Gen6, spelled out, S-I-X, conferences.com. You'll find us online and links to all of our social media sites at SkyWatchTV.com. And please log on to my website for everything I post. That's DerekPGilbert.com, DerekPGilbert.com. Thank you for watching as we keep watch. Tomorrow, my best friend joins me for Sci Friday. Until then, this is SkyWatch TV.